Chapter 807. The Great Devil Uses the Ultimate Move. In the deepest part of the grove in Jean Garden, upon hearing the tigers roar from afar, the dark team guards had strange looks on their faces. What's that sound? 11 mumbled. Sounds like Slaughter. Slaughter's roar sounded quite miserable. What happened? Did he get captured by Miss Wanwan? That's really terrible. Everyone looked at one another in terror. She didn't even let a tiger off. She's simply a beast, poor Slaughter. Upon hearing one roar after another, the group of guards started shivering as they hid in the dark. We must hide well. We can't let Miss Wanwan find us. At the same time, Si Han was confronted by a woman and a tiger. Si Han. Wanwan, let Slaughter go. Si Han's words fell on deaf ears. She continued stroking the big cat happily. TSK, TSK, TSK. So soft, so comfy. Baby, you feel so good. Feel so good? Si Han's eyes darkened further, and he said in a frosty tone, Wanwan, come here. Yi Wanwan hugged Great White and didn't let go. No. I want to be with Great White. I want to sleep together with Great White. Sleep together. Si Han stared at the girl who stuck herself to the white tiger like a baby, and the air around him turned colder. However, Yi Wanwan didn't sense a thing and was still basking in the delight of stroking the cat. She had yearned to touch Great White in this way for such a long time, and now that she could do it, she obviously wasn't going to let go so easily. Si Han urged her again. Wanwan, this is your last chance. The effects of the alcohol were kicking in, and Yi Wanwan was becoming dizzier. She found the voice in her ear rather annoying, and while she was in a daze, she turned to the shadow hidden behind the leaves, upset. Who are you? You're noisy. You're disturbing me and Great White. Si Han. A gust of wind blew, rustling the leaves. Yi Wanwan suddenly felt chilly and let out a sneeze. Just at that moment, that man, who was interrupting her time with Great White, walked over slowly and came out of the shadows. Then the man's cold face of unparalleled beauty, who looked as if he had been banished from heaven, appeared under the moonlight. The background was smudged into an ink and wash painting. His brows seemed to be smoking. He had a high-nosed bridge, ice-cold eyes and thin lips in the shade of the cherry blossoms in March, and he held a gaze like he despised all living creatures. Yi Wanwan stared at him in awe. Si Han stopped when he was 5 steps away from Yi Wanwan, then his long and fair fingers touched his collar. His fingers moved slightly and, click, a black button was undone between his fingers, the first one, then the second one. After the second button was undone, Si Han pulled on his collar, revealing a small section of his charming collarbone. His self-restraint was immediately turned into an entirely different charm. Yi Wanwan stared at the beauty before her eyes without blinking at all. She couldn't move her eyes away. The moment the third button was unfastened, Si Han lifted his gaze. His eyes glimmered in the dark night like the stars and moon. He turned towards her, and at the same time, he opened his thin lips and said once more, Come here. Swished the moment Si Han spoke. Yi Wanwan released the white tiger and stood up instantly as she spun and darted towards the beauty. Chapter 808. Why don't we do something meaningful after seeing Si Han's face? Yi Wanwan's attitude changed 180 degrees, and she even tossed Great White to the back of her mind. The white tiger took this opportunity to escape and disappeared into the night. Seeing that Yi Wanwan had abandoned the white tiger and ran over, Si Han's expression finally turned gentler. Yi Wanwan buried her head into Si Han's chest as she looked up at the handsome man with her glistening eyes. Wow, baby looks really good. Yi Wanwan looked at him like she literally wanted to tear off his clothes. It was as if a wild beast had spotted a meaty bone. The corners of Si Han's lips twitched. Go back. Oh. Yi Wanwan nodded her head and followed him obediently. After they entered the house, Si Han let Yi Wanwan drink the soup he prepared for her to sober up, then he ordered her to shower and go to bed. Yi Wanwan didn't lay still when she got into bed. At this moment, the effects of the alcohol completely overcame her, and the soup she drank wasn't effective at all. Yi Wanwan placed her head on her arm and laid in bed, intoxicated. Si Han was currently taking his clothes off. Yuanwan stared at him without blinking at all. Wherever he went, her eyes followed. The second Si Han changed into his pajamas and placed his head on the pillow. Yuanwan immediately turned into a ferocious beast hunting for its prey. She flipped over and pressed her body on top of him, then she stared straight at him. Handsome, you're very good looking. What's your name? Si Han. Looks like she's completely wasted. Yuanwan. Handsome, let me read your fortune, all right? I'm very accurate. Si Han. Yuanwan blinked. Handsome, why aren't you responding? It's such a beautiful night. Time is of the essence. A quarter of an hour is worth 1,000 gold. Why don't we do something meaningful with our time? Yuanwan spoke as she got closer to him. They were so close that they could feel each other's breath, and her jet black hair was caressing his chest. Si Han. Si Han took a deep breath and suppressed the lower half of his body that was aroused by this girl. Go to bed. Yuanwan was hyperactive at this moment. There was no way she could sleep. I don't want to sleep. I want to bed you. Swish, and the sky was spinning. In the very next second, Yuanwan was pressed against the bed instead. Si Han's breathing got heavier as he gritted his teeth, and he glared at the girl underneath him. Yuanwan stared at his ice-cold face that was stained with anger. She had a puzzled look and tilted her head as she asked him, Handsome, why do you look so familiar? Have I met you somewhere before? When Si Han heard that, his eyes constricted. Really? Yuanwan nodded seriously. Yes, handsome, you look like my kid's father. Oh? Si Han. Si Han's face was as black as the underside of a pot. Since when did she have a kid? Si Han took the blanket and bundled Yuanwan up tightly, only leaving her little head outside, and ordered her, sleep. Yuanwan was wrapped up like a dumpling. Handsome, what are you doing? I was serious. You don't believe me? Why don't we create one now, huh? Si Han. Shut up. Yuanwan. Si Han couldn't tolerate this anymore, and he covered her mouth, preventing her from speaking at all. Chapter 809. Not allowed to hurt others. Si Han used all his willpower to end the kiss. I'm going to sleep in the study. There was no way he could sleep in the same bed with her tonight. Beauty, don't go. Yuanwan was in despair as she watched her beauty leaving the room. She rolled around the bed and couldn't fall asleep at all. She sat up decisively, then went out through the window again. Jean Garden, in the grove, the dark team guards were sighing. It's already midnight, can't we go back yet? I don't know. Should we call housekeeper Sue and ask? Aren't we making a big deal out of this, huh? It was probably just a fluke before. The group was deep in discussion when all of a sudden, a head dangled from the tree. Hi, how are you guys? I finally found some humans. There was a dead silence in the air for a few seconds before they started wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. Shit, Miss Wanwan. How did she appear? Yuanwan suddenly appeared on top of the tree with her head dangling. The dark team guards, who were in hiding, were simply scared out of their wits. Everyone took 10 steps back at the same time, and they stared at Yuanwan with alarm, beads of cold sweat trickling down. Damn, what's going on here? We were hiding here and were actually found. In an inn now, what should we do? Head Captain, Captain 11, quick, think of something. 11 took a big gulp. Miss Wanwan, why are you here? It's really late now. You better go back and rest. Swish, Yuanwan jumped off the tree. Her eyes narrowed as she scanned the group. I remember all of you. You guys are the people who beat me up last time. Why don't we continue where we left off? Everyone. She must have made a mistake. Who actually beat people up? Huh. Even if you're itching for a fight, you didn't have to use this excuse, right? Before anyone could react, Yuanwan was already charging towards them at lightning speed. Yuanwan was already terrifying to begin with, but after drinking, it was as if a seal was broken and her strength was off the charts. Very soon, the grove was filled with sounds of grief from all around. Diabolical. We already hid all the way out here, yet we still couldn't hide from her. Teacher, stop fighting. Stop fighting. Feng Xianyi stumbled and tried to stop her. Yuanwan attacked anyone who came in her path. In other people's eyes, the two of them were just sparring. But Feng Xianyi's expression changed subtly in the dark. This woman took on 3 moves of mine that used all my strength. After all, the fight was in full view, and Feng Xianyi didn't want to keep testing her strength. He held back and was sent flying with a kick. Yuanwan was having so much fun, but suddenly, a deep hoarse voice came from behind her. Wanwan. Upon hearing that familiar voice, all the Dark Team guards turned to that person. Ninth Master. Currently, Yuanwan had one guard wrapped around her arm and another one under her foot. When she saw the person coming towards her, her eyes lit up. Beauty? Sihan stared at Yuanwan, who sneaked out the second he wasn't paying attention, and his face turned gloomy. Go back to bed. Yuanwan pouted and looked very unwilling. Then are you going to keep me company? Sihan remained silent for 2 seconds before he said, forget it. If I don't want her to hurt others, I have to sacrifice myself. Chapter 8:10. Can't get out of bed the moment Sihan spoke. Yuanwan tossed aside 11, who was in her arms, and kicked the guard beneath her foot. Then she happily hopped over to Sihan. The group of Dark Team guards stood rooted to the ground and watched as their master brought the female demon away. All of them let out a long sigh of relief. We got saved. Master actually sacrificed himself in order to save us. 2 moved. Sihan finally brought Yuanwan back to the bedroom once again and laid in bed. Thankfully, Yuanwan was calmer this time around. After all, she made a din the entire night, and she slept soundly not long after she laid in bed. Seeing her sleeping peacefully, Sihan could finally heave a sigh of relief, but the fire ignited in his body couldn't be put out no matter what he did, and he was forced to have a sleepless night. The next morning, Yuanwan woke up as usual. Ow, pain, pain, pain. Yuanwan immediately felt the familiar aches all over her body. Why does it feel like I got beaten up the day after I drank? While she was mumbling, she realized Sihan was fast asleep next to her. It was rare for Sihan to wake up later than her. Yuanwan didn't wake him up. She got out of bed silently and showered before heading downstairs to train. She bumped into Sui the second she stepped into the courtyard. Upon seeing Yuanwan, Sui nearly turned around and ran away reflexively, but thankfully, he controlled himself. Good morning, Miss Wanwan. Morning, housekeeper Sue. Sui glanced behind Yuanwan. Miss Wanwan, where is Ninth Master? He's not up yet. He's still sleeping. Yuanwan replied. Sui, 11. Feng Xianyi and the rest of the guards who had their ears pricked up and were eavesdropping. It's so late and he's not up yet? What exactly did Miss Wanwan do to Ninth Master last night? Yuanwan scratched her head and was confused. Why is Sui looking at me weirdly? Dazzling media, in the office. Yuanwan had a great time drinking last night and felt refreshed and energized to get back to work. She started reading news related to Terrifying Dragon 2. Currently, this drama series was already halfway through broadcasting and Luo-chan had exploded in fame. Even though he was the supporting actor in the drama, viewership was very high whenever he appeared in an episode. In one of the climactic episodes, he even set a record for the number of viewerships during Imperial City's satellite TV's prime time. He was always one of the hottest searches online, and he never had a lack of projects or endorsements. Yuanwan helped him arrange a couple reputable endorsements, but she hadn't arranged any movies or drama series. She was still waiting for news from Song Jin-lin. Although he was rising in fame, and it was the perfect opportunity for him to make big bucks, as it would be a waste to not do anything, Yuanwan believed Song Jin-lin's script was worth the wait. Yuanwan was busying herself when a knock came at the door. Please come in. E.g. Shin Manju pushed the door open and entered the office nervously. Once Yuanwan saw her, she immediately recalled that night when she appeared at her apartment and stripped naked to try to bed her and shuddered at that thought. Is anything the matter? Shin Manju looked as if she was about to cry. She bowed and said, Yi-ji, I'm so sorry. I was rude that night. I am really not that sort of girl. I just, Yuanwan sighed. Tell me, who told you to do it? If someone hadn't told her anything, she wouldn't have made such a drastic change within a day. Shin Manju betrayed Gong Su without hesitation. It was Gong Su. He told me that you like it. You Wan. Like what? Shin Manju. You like girls who are wilder, and he also said the wilder, the better. You'd like it if I was more open and direct. You Wan. That little bastard. Chapter 8:11. It's not something you can learn, no wonder. She wondered why Shin Manju would be so open all of a sudden. So it was that bastard who was behind this. Slam! The office door was shoved open by someone. Gong Su rushed inside like a gust of wind. Mina-san. Ohio. E.g., you're finally back. I didn't catch you yesterday and finally caught you here. Did you bring me a gift? Quick, quick, quick. Take it out. Yi Wan narrowed her eyes. Gift? How about a big fat punch? Gong Su blinked. Huh, why do you want to punch me? I was so obedient and well-behaved when you weren't around. I only caused trouble no, thrice. Wow, good job. Kudos to you then. The corners of Yi Wan's lips twitched and she revealed a grin. She said softly, I heard you said I liked girls who are more direct and wild. The wilder, the better? Gong Su's smile stiffened and only realized that Shin Manju was present in the office as well. He knew at that point that she had betrayed him, and he felt guilty immediately. He was so scared that he howled. I was wrong, cries. Shin Manju finally realized she had been tricked by Gong Su and started chasing him around and beating him up. Great. Gong Su, you actually lied to me. I was screwed over by you. Don't hit my face. Gong Su covered his face and scampered away like a rat. All right, that's enough, Yi Wan said helplessly. The two of them stopped, panting heavily. At this moment, Gong Su didn't forget to fish for some juicy gossip as he leaned over to Shin Manju and asked, Shin Manju, you really tried it? What did you do? Shin Manju wanted to strangle him to death. She gritted her teeth, stared at him and whispered, I stripped naked completely, yet Yi didn't even react at all. It was so embarrassing. It's all your fault. Wow, so explosive. Gong Su was surprised. He didn't react at all even when she was stark naked. It's over. It's over. At first, he wanted to pull Yi back, but didn't think Yi would be so gay that he couldn't get any more gay. Shin Manju didn't believe in Gong Su's word anymore. She stood in front of Yi Wan's desk with defeat and asked, So, Yi, exactly what kind of girls do you go for? Gong Su walked over and patted her shoulder. Don't ask anymore. It's no use even if you knew. It's not something you can learn. Shin Manju was annoyed. Get lost. How would you know that I wouldn't be able to learn it? Gong Su scanned her body. Because you're missing a body part? How are you going to learn to be a man? Yi Wan glared at Gong Su and hinted that it was time for him to stop before he went too far. Then she turned to Shin Manju and said, Sorry, Manju. You should know that I have a girlfriend already. Shin Manju exclaimed instantly, I don't mind. Yi Wan was stern. But I do. Shin Manju was taken aback and her face turned red. It was very normal for people in the industry to fool around with one another, and for someone of her beauty, she had an endless stream of suitors. However, Yi didn't want her even after she threw herself at him. She didn't think Yi was still so clean and pure after being in the industry, especially considering his status. Teske. Annoying. Why didn't I meet such a rare species earlier? E.g. Luo Chen's voice came from the door. Luo Chen had a few little assistants following him around. He was dressed in an extremely formal suit and had obviously come straight from an event that he didn't even have time to change. Yi Wan, Luo Chen, are you still busy? I was about to find you. Chapter 8:12. Who has the guts to replace the manager? The second Yi Wan stood up, she felt a cramp in her calf and she knitted her brows. Why does my entire body ache so badly whenever I drink? Even my legs are cramping up this time. What exactly did I do? E.g., what's wrong? Luo Chen hurriedly asked. Yi Wan replied casually, Nothing. I might have exercised too hard. My leg is cramping up a little. E.g., take a seat. Luo Chen spoke while helping Yi Wan sit. He then hurriedly rolled up the sleeves of his expensive suit and knelt down in front of Yi Wanwan as he massaged her calf gently. Seeing Luo Chun massaging her leg, Yi Wanwan said, "Luo Chun, I'm fine. You don't have to do this." Things were very different for Luo Chun now. He was rising in fame and was one of the hottest stars who nobody even dared to approach. Everywhere he went, people respected and admired him. However, no matter what his status was, he never changed his attitude towards her, but instead, he was becoming even more respectful. Luo Chen's face was uncommonly stern. "Yi Ji, sit properly. Don't move." Yi Wanwan didn't have a choice and could only sit still. Luo Chen's massage was quite professional, and not long afterward, Yi Wanwan felt her muscles becoming less tense. Next to them, Gong Su got mad when he saw this scene and he whined, "Hey, asshole, asshole. Luo Chen, you're a bootlicker. This is crazy. You only know how to fight with me for attention. Yiji won't be fooled by your little tricks. I'll always be Yiji's favorite baby." Seeing Gong Su relapsing, Yi Wanwan was speechless. Gong Su was sulking when his phone got a WeChat notification. He tapped the message to take a look and got excited. "Wah, Yiji, you're going to be promoted, eh?" Yi Wanwan's eyes shifted. "Promoted?" Gong Su exclaimed excitedly. That's right, that's right. Tang Xinghua received insider news that the former vice president's been transferred, and you're going to be promoted to be Dazzling Media's vice president. You'll start your new post immediately. Hearing the news that she was going to be promoted, Yi Wanwan's face fell instead. It was such a major shift, and they would be promoting her very soon. Yet she wasn't informed beforehand at all and was being moved so abruptly. When Luo Chen heard that, he asked, "Since Yi Ji will be promoted to be the vice president, who's going to replace Yi Ji's as the director of talent recruitment?" "Let me ask." Gong Su picked up his phone and sent Tang Xinghua a text. A moment later, he received a reply. He heard that Kai Yongsheng, a manager from Worldwide Entertainment, Chu Hongguang's nephew, will be the one. Damn, that's so annoying. Why is he relying on his family relations? The little assistant next to Gong Su was somewhat speechless. She thought to herself, "You're the one who relies on your family relations the most, all right?" However, Gong Su had fallen out with his family and could no longer rely on his connections. Thankfully, he was still quite popular, and as long as he didn't cause any trouble, there shouldn't be any problems for now. Yi Wanwan thought and murmured to herself, "Kai Yongsheng." It was him indeed, and he appeared sooner than she thought. TSK? It sounded really nice when they called it a promotion, but it was more like a demotion than a promotion as they seized power from her hands, and she didn't even need to think to know what that sly old fox, Chu Hongguang, was up to. He simply wanted nothing more than to take everything away from her, bit by bit. The promotion was perhaps only the beginning. Luo Chen's pupils constricted. "Are you sure it's only a change in position? There won't be a change in who's managing us, right?" When Gong Su heard that, he froze and said immediately, "Obviously that's impossible. Who has the guts to replace the manager I picked? Huh?" Chapter 813. Stealing her success at this moment, Yi Wanwan's assistant, Shaoan, knocked on the door and entered. "Yi Ji, President Yang wants you to attend a meeting. Chairman Chu is there as well." Yi Wanwan's eyes flashed a cold light. "Got it. I'll be there right away." She then warned Luo Chen and Gong Su, "You guys just focus on what you have to do. You don't have to worry about this at all." Gong Su, "Yi Ji, don't worry. No matter who comes after you, I'll support you all the way." Yi Wanwan was helpless. "All right, just give me fewer troubles and I'll thank the heavens already." Luo Chen didn't speak. He watched Yi Wanwan's retreating figure and looked worried. In the office, top management was present, and Chu Hongguang had also come over personally to announce Yi Wanwan's promotion. "Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations, Director Yi." "Oh no, it should be Vice President Yi now." "Congratulations, Vice President Yi." Everybody was congratulating her, but there was a deeper understanding in their eyes. "This is Kai Yongsheng from Worldwide. He's also my nephew. He's young and inexperienced, so please take care of him for me, everyone." "Haha, Chairman Chu, you're too modest. Congratulations, Director Kai." Chu Hongguang turned to Yi Wanwan. Yibai, it's been hard on you lately. Now that Yongsheng has joined us, you can relax a little. If you want to go on a vacation, just let me know anytime. Kai Yongsheng hurriedly said, That's right. You can leave the company to me. Yi Wanwan forced a smile and didn't say much aside from, Thank you, Chairman Chu. The meeting came to an end as everyone left with various thoughts of their own. Chu Hongguang asked Yi Wanwan to stay and spoke to her privately for a while. The talk was basically to remind her of his powers so that she would be obedient. Downstairs, in Yi Wanwan's office, Kai Yongsheng brought an assistant with him, a beautiful newcomer, and strutted into Yi Wanwan's office. Then he sat his butt down on the chair behind the desk. Where's the work schedule for today? Bring it to me. Yi Wanwan's assistant was in a difficult place. This, Director Kai, it's your first day of work. Shouldn't Director Yi be the one who hands the tasks over to you? Kai Yongsheng's eyes turned stern. Who's the director here, me or you? Do I need you to teach me how to work? The little assistant was so frightened that she shrunk and said helplessly, Director Yi is meeting the chief editor of Beauty magazine, Mr. Liang, later at noon. He should be arriving any time now. Just as she was speaking, there was a knock on the door. Upon seeing that person, Kai Yongsheng stood up instantly and walked over to Liang Chong. Aya, so you're Liang Chong, the chief editor of Beauty magazine, right? It's an honor to meet you at last. Liang Chong looked at Kai Yongsheng suspiciously and asked, You are? Kai Yongsheng grinned widely. I'm the director of the talent recruitment department at Dazzling Media, Kai Yongsheng. Liang Chong glanced at the little assistant instinctively. Isn't the director of the talent recruitment? Kai Yongsheng smiled. Director Yi Bai has already been transferred. From today onwards, I'll be in charge of all the collaboration matters. So, Mr. Liang, you can just liaise with me directly. Kai Yongsheng spoke while he called out to his new assistant. Xiao Chun, book a restaurant? Yes, Director Kai. Chief Editor Liang, this way, please. We'll discuss while we eat. Kai Yongsheng didn't give the little assistant a chance to speak at all and took Liang Chong away eagerly. Chapter 814. Freeload Office Fame. The second Yi Wanwan returned. The little assistant said anxiously, Director Yi, we're in trouble. Yi Wanwan. What is it? Didn't you have an appointment with Chief Editor Liang this afternoon? In the end, the newly appointed Director Kai took him away and even said that from today onwards, he'll be responsible for everything to do with collaboration matters. The little assistant got angrier as she spoke. E.g., this Kai Yongsheng is too much. You were obviously the one who successfully clinched the deal, and even if you transferred, you should still be the one to complete this. How could he snatch it away like that? Wouldn't all the credit go to him then? Yi Wanwan didn't show any change in her facial expression at all after hearing that the deal she worked on over the past month had been intercepted midway. She said indifferently, He has the ability to snatch it over, but does he have the ability to swallow it down? Imperial City, in a booth at a high-class restaurant. Chief Editor Liang, let me introduce you to a newbie under me, Lucy Yang. Lucy, quick, get a glass of wine for Chief Editor Liang. Beauty is the #1 fashion magazine now, and even the well-known fashion magazine, Vivi, was overtaken by it. Many people yearn to be in the magazine. Kai Yongsheng eagerly got all the beauties and newbies under him to drink with him. Everyone liked hearing praise, and it was no different for Liang Chong. He replied gleefully, Director Kai, you flatter me. Chief Editor Liang, you don't have to be so humble. I'm only speaking the truth, haha. Kai Yongsheng spoke while he hinted at the female artist with his eyes. Lucy Yang immediately caught on. She raised her glass and walked towards Liang Chong as she sat very close to him. Chief Editor Liang, cheers. After 3 rounds of drinks, Kai Yongsheng used all sorts of bootlicking to make Liang Chong happy, and he took this chance to say, Chief Editor Liang, Lucy is the top newbie we have at Dazzling Media this year. We'll be pushing her for many projects, and all resources will go to her first. She just acted in a female lead role and will definitely rise in popularity in the future. Perhaps you could let Lucy try out for the cover of this upcoming issue. Listening up to this point, Liang Chong knitted his brows. Drinking was a separate matter, and he would never be sloppy with his work. Since he was able to reach the position of chief editor, He obviously wasn't a fool who would simply believe the words of others. The newcomers this year were like a school of carp moving down a stream. This Lucy Yang was just one of many, and although there were many resources raining down, they were still insufficient. She wasn't qualified enough to be on his magazine, and if he had known sooner that Dazzling's director was preparing to push this kind of artist to him, he wouldn't have shown up for this meal. Liang Chong said indifferently, "Director Kai, I think you might have made a mistake somewhere. Previously, I discussed this with Director Yi and agreed to let Gong Su be on the cover of the magazine. I already thought of a theme specifically for him, yet suddenly, you're saying you want a change of artist. I'm afraid I can't go on with this contract, eh?" Kai Yong-shang coughed lightly and said, "Chief Editor Liang, don't be anxious. Of course, I wouldn't want to breach the contract and have such a drastic switch in the artist. What I meant was that you could perhaps get Lucy to appear on the cover with Gong Su. How the public perceives Gong Su is very well known, but lately, he's had a change in attitude and cultivated his moral character. He doesn't have a girlfriend at all, and there isn't any gossip circulating about him lately, so the public is extremely curious about him. Think about it. What if some gossip spread during this period? Wouldn't it elicit greater enthusiasm from the public? By then, your magazine would sell out everywhere." Kai Yong-shang's hint was already very obvious. Not only did he want to snatch Yi Wanwan's credit, but he also wanted to lower Gong Su's fame and use Gong Su to bring his own newbie up. Chapter 8:15. To smooth cooperation, Liang Chong's eyes lit up as he listened up to this point. It seemed like Kai Yong-shang had won over his heart. Lately, their longtime rival, Vivi, had a tight hold on the industry and he was under immense pressure. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wanted an artist like Gong Su who had fame but no reputation. It would normally be degrading. However, the negotiation skills of Director Yi from Dazzling were simply too good and broke his resolve. It was just that he hadn't expected there would be a sudden change in director, and now, Kai Yong-shang was even suggesting displaying these two people together. Although the newbie didn't have enough popularity or reputation, Kai Yong-shang said Dazzling wanted to use this opportunity to get this artist out there, and by then, it would definitely drive up the sales volumes of the magazine. Anyway, he already broke his resolve for Gong Su. There wouldn't be much difference if he broke it again for the sake of sales volumes. When he saw that Liang Chong was contemplating it, Kai Yong-shang kept winking at the female artist by the side. "Chief Editor Liang, I'll perform well." Lucy Yang spoke and placed her hand on Liang Chong's thigh. Not only would she be able to drive up sales volumes, but this Kai Yong-shang had also been in the industry for some time, and he would be able to fish up some benefits for himself, so why would he be against it? Thinking up to this point, Liang Chong immediately said, "It's not against our previous agreement to have both of them on the cover." Kai Yong-shang was elated. "Chief Editor Liang, you're straightforward and decisive. Then I wish us smooth cooperation." Liang Chong. To smooth cooperation. The next morning, Yimu Fan ran to find Yi Wanwan in a huff. "Wanwan, I already said that the sly old fox, Chu Hongguang, doesn't have any good intentions. He suddenly roped Kai Yong-shang into the company to take credit from you. He's been in the company for only a day and went around telling people that he got the cover of Beauty. Damn, weren't you the one who negotiated for that cover? He simply went for a meal with the chief editor and all the credit went straight to him?" Yimu Fan got angrier the more he thought about it. This guy has Chu Hongguang to back him up and will only become more brazen in the future. It's better to just resign and leave than to stay here and tolerate him. Yi Wanwan walked over, poured a cup of tea for Yimu Fan, and looked at him. "Don't rush. Now is not the time yet." Yimu Fan hurriedly said, "Darn it. I almost forgot you haven't paid off the house from Chu Hongguang. How much do you need?" "I have some money. Just take it all." No matter how much a stylist earned, it wouldn't be comparable to the income of an artist or manager. Furthermore, he hadn't worked for long, so he couldn't have saved up much. It was all his fault for fooling around so much in the past. If he started working hard earlier on, Wanwan wouldn't have to suffer alone. What worried him more was that if they really resigned, where could they go? It wasn't easy to start from scratch or join another company. No need for that. You're rising up yourself and will need the money for other areas. I'll have enough to pay off the house once I get my salary this month. Oh right. What's the update on the issue I told you to take care of? Yi Wanwan asked. I've been monitoring it closely. There's no news of Imperial Sky shooting that movie you mentioned. Yimu Fan replied, then he asked, puzzled. But why do you care what movie Imperial Sky is shooting? Yi Wanwan's face took on a thoughtful expression. She just wanted to make sure things went the same way as in her previous life. Chapter 8:16. Stained integrity. She had to determine whether Imperial Sky would be shooting that script they stole off Su Lin. She had already written out this script based on her memory and registered for copyright before Imperial Sky. She had also already launched the project in secret. This was the most critical trump card she had. It would determine whether or not she could bring about a change in her fortune. If she didn't tread carefully and left Dazzling without careful consideration, it would be challenging for her to make a comeback. Right now, she had to quickly pay off her debts and take full ownership of the property rights to the house. Then she had to wait for news from Imperial Sky. Yi Wanwan was in the middle of thinking when an urgent ringing came from her phone. Gong Su's assistant, Dong Zai, was heard anxiously speaking over the receiver. Yi Ji, we're in trouble. Gong Su. Gong Su is fighting with Kai Yongsheng right now. Yi Wanwan frowned. Kai Yongsheng? Didn't you guys go to a shooting for the cover of Beauty today? Dong Zai answered, yes, but director Kai brought the artist under him, Lucy Yang, and even said that Lucy Yang would be on the cover with Gong Su. Gong Su wasn't unwilling, so they started fighting. Didn't expect that this Kai Yongsheng would actually steal my credit and even bring his own artist into this to leech on our resources and Gong Su's fame. What a great plan. I'll come over right away. Yi Wanwan hung up immediately after speaking. Wanwan, what happened? Yimu Fan was worried. Yi Wanwan. Kai Yongsheng brought Lucy Yang and slotted her onto the cover of Beauty. Yimu Fan. What? Why is this person so absurd? Yi Wanwan. I'll go take a look. Don't worry about me and just go about with your things. Beauty Magazine Company building, in the studio. Yi Ji. Once he saw Yi Wanwan, Gong Su, who was arguing with Kai Yongsheng, immediately looked as if he had been defiled. Yi Ji, I'm not shooting for this magazine anymore. I want to go home. Liang Chong purposely put on a surprised expression when he saw Yi Wanwan. Director Yi, why did you come down personally? Yi Wanwan first gave Gong Su a meaningful glance to tell him to hold his horses, then turned to Liang Chong and got straight to the point. Chief Editor Liang, if I didn't remember incorrectly, we agreed that Gong Su would be on the cover of this issue. A hint of light flashed in Liang Chong's eyes and he said casually, Director Yi, oh wait, I should call you Vice President Yi now. I haven't congratulated you on your promotion. The thing is, although I agreed to Gong Su being on the cover of this issue, I didn't mention that there wouldn't be anyone else, right? Yi Wanwan revealed a cold smile. He's actually playing the word game with me, huh? Liang Chong continued. Furthermore, the director of talent recruitment is Mr. Kai now, and I've already discussed this with him. Even though Yi Wanwan was now the vice president, everyone knew about Kai Yongsheng's relationship with Chu Hongguang and why Chu Hongguang brought him into Dazzling Media. Everybody from the internal departments of Dazzling to external parties was very clear on who held the most power. This vice president role was just an empty name in reality. It was simply a title. At this moment, Kai Yongsheng brought Lucy Yang over and grinned widely. Vice President Yi, just leave this small matter to me. You don't have to trouble yourself with it. Look at how compatible Gong Su is with our Lucy. They're pleasing to the eyes, and people would love to see them together. Also, the movie that our Lucy starred in has just aired. She's very popular now, and the sales volume for this issue will definitely be off the charts. Chapter 8:17. Explode in fury. Gong Su was so furious that he charged out. He pointed at Kai Yongsheng's nose and started yelling, Off the charts, your father! You're leeching off my fame, yet you still dared to make it sound so high-sounding like I'm the one getting an advantage here. How shameless are you, huh? Let me tell you, just shoot with whoever you want. Young master will not wait upon you. Want to take advantage of me? You'll have to see if I'm willing or not. Gong Su embarrassed Kai Yongsheng in front of so many people and his face turned ugly. He said in a low voice, Gong Su, You still think you're the great young master of the Gong family, huh? This is such an important collaboration, and you think you can just say no? Vice President Yi, this is the kind of artist you produce? Gong Su's expression changed. At the moment, he hated the phrase, "You still think you're the great young master of the Gong family," the most. He was about to howl in anger before Yi Wanwan pressed on his shoulder and turned to Kai Yongsheng. It's not for outsiders to comment on the quality of artists I produce. Kai Yongsheng froze. You. At this moment, Yi Wanwan's phone rang and the caller ID indicated that it was a call from Chu Hongguang. And it was a video call. Kai Yongsheng looked at Yi Wanwan's phone and was delighted. Yi Wanwan connected the call. Chairman Chu. In the video call, Chu Hongguang was seated on a big leather chair, and he spoke in a sincere tone. Yibai, Yongsheng just joined the company, and there might be some people who won't listen to him. There are many things he still needs your help with. You get what I mean, right? As expected, he was calling to give her a warning. He even used the video call on purpose, obviously backing Kai Yongsheng in front of everyone. Kai Yongsheng stood by the side with a lofty smirk, and he spoke in a helpless tone. Chairman Chu, Vice President Yi is solely backing her artist and refusing to work with me. It's making things really hard for me, Yi Wanwan said. Yes, Chairman Chu. I don't think we should have two people on the cover of this issue, and it's fine if you insist on this. But I have to remind Director Kai on one thing. At this moment, Kai Yongsheng felt completely emboldened and thought to himself, weren't you pretty gutsy just now? Huh? In the end, you still have to listen to me. Yi Bai was able to gain a foothold in the company because he groomed Luo Chen. But so what if he has any skills or abilities? I don't need those things. As long as I have a strong backing, I can even bring a fool to fame. I'll wait until he produces an A-lister, then I'll take away all the resources from Yi Bai, and his artists too. Then dazzling will be mine for sure. Chu Hongguang nodded. What is it? Kai Yongsheng spoke carelessly. Haha, what does Vice President want to remind me about? Just speak your mind. Yi Wanwan. If Director Kai insists on having Gong Su and Lucy Yang appearing on the cover together, then Director Kai has to bear the consequences after this issue is out. Director Kai, do you have any objections to that? Consequences? What consequences could there be? This guy is just mad I took credit for his work and wants to scare me and threaten me, huh? As if I wouldn't be able to see through his little trick. Kai Yongsheng concealed the unhappiness in his eyes and said, Vice President Yi, of course. I was the one who closed this deal after all. Obviously, I will be the one who deals with all the matters that follow. Yi Wanwan. All right, since Director Kai agreed and Chairman Chu approved, I don't have any objections then. Liang Chong listened to the conversation between Yi Wanwan, Chu Hongguang, and Kai Yongsheng and didn't disapprove at all. Instead, because he saw that Chu Hongguang was clearly backing Kai Yongsheng, he felt he ought to act in accordance with Kai Yongsheng's suggestion. After the video call ended, Kai Yongsheng turned to Gong Su triumphantly. Gong Su, your manager already agreed to it. Are you still going to continue making a scene? Seeing that Yi Wanwan agreed to it, Gong Su exploded. Yidi? Why do I have to be on the cover with this ugly freak? I'm not going to do it. The pay wouldn't even be enough to compensate me for the psychological damage. Lucy Yang's face contorted when she heard that. Ugly? Ugly freak? The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. This bastard's mouth is quite vicious, eh? I'll get Dong Zai to get you some candied plums after the shoot, Yi Wanwan said. Gong Su, don't think that a box of candied plums will be enough to make me do it. Is my integrity worth only a box of candied plums? Huh? Who do you think I am? Yi Wanwan. 2 boxes. Gong Su, where's the photographer? Hurry up. Stop wasting my time. Yi Wanwan. Chapter 818. Force me to sleep with her due to cooperation from Gong Su. The shooting was completed without any hiccups. During the shooting, Kai Yongsheng requested more intimate poses. Thankfully, since Yi Wanwan was watching and Liang Chong was apprehensive, the photos weren't over the top and the shooting ended smoothly. Gong Su immediately got into the nanny van once the shoot was over. Where are my candied plums? Gong Su pounced onto Dong Zai like a hungry wolf the moment he got on. Dong Zai wiped his sweat, then hurriedly brought them out. Suji, I bought them already. They're from the store you usually buy them from. Gong Su took the bag and glanced at it, dissatisfied. Didn't you buy anything else? She asked you to get 2 boxes of candied plums, and you really want to just get 2 boxes of candied plums. You didn't even add on a cake for me. As Gong Su was always secretly snacking away, causing his weight to be over the limit, he was ordered by Yuanwan to lose weight and wasn't allowed to have snacks anymore. This was especially the case for sweet foods, and it was very rare for him to have her permission this once. Gong Su took small, careful bites of the candied plum, afraid there'd be none left. His eyes were watery as he leaned over, and he glued himself to Yuanwan, who was sitting next to him. Yi Ji, can I tell you something? The corners of Yuanwan's lips twitched. Speak properly. Gong Su. Yi Ji, I would like to discuss something with you. Yuanwan. Speak? Gong Su spoke with sparkly eyes. It's like this. When will you let me see the real little candied plum? He only followed Yi Bai for the sake of meeting little candied plum at the beginning, but after getting to know him for some time, he realized he centered all his attention on Yi Bai and almost forgot his initial goal. But upon seeing Yi Bai's resemblance to little candied plum, he recalled his main goal. Yuanwan gave him side-eye. You haven't given up yet? Gong Su spoke in a serious tone. What are you saying? Although I'm usually quite a playboy, my feelings for little candied plum are different, all right? Yuanwan. What's the difference? You only met her once. Gong Su's face was covered in peach blossoms. He blushed and said, Have you heard of this phrase that girls usually say? Love isn't complicated. It might just happen to be a guy appearing before me in a white shirt that I like on a random afternoon. To me, love is little candied plum giving me a box of candied plum at the right moment. Yuanwan was stunned and looked at Gong Su, who was suddenly filled with a teenage girl's heart. He was clearly a playboy, yet he was acting like a teenage boy in love for the first time. Yuanwan said, No little candied plum, but I'll let you have a chocolate a day. I'd better placate this guy a bit. After all, I'm afraid Gong Su will have to suffer a little this time. Gong Su was over the moon when he heard that. He stared at Yuanwan with his guard up. Yi Ji, why are you so nice to me all of a sudden? I'm so scared now. You're not going to sell me to a wealthy female boss and force me to sleep with her, are you? Yuanwan, you should just continue going for young girls. After Yuanwan was done with her work, she returned to Jing Garden and had dinner with Si Han. She had been back for a couple of days already and Nameless Nya was nowhere to be found. He hadn't contacted her at all, and she wasn't sure if he still needed her help or not, so she hadn't spoken about it to Si Han at all. That guy was too unreliable. She'd better just wait for his confirmation before telling Si Han. After all, it was simply too ridiculous for her to tell Si Han to be a dad all of a sudden. Chapter 819. What sort of new trick is this? Yuanwan bumped into 11 the moment she stepped out to the courtyard, and the big bruises on one of his eyes and chin immediately caught her attention. 11, what happened to your face? Yuanwan asked anxiously. Miss Wanwan. 11 covered his face instinctively and took a big step back reflexively. No, nothing. Yuanwan looked sharply at him. How could this be nothing? Who beat you up? Was it Yuan Shang? Are they making trouble for you again? 11 choked. No, really, it's nothing. I knocked into a wall myself. Yuanwan. Huh? Knocked into a wall. Yet you're bruised so badly? Yuanwan was speaking to 11 when Feng Xian Yi walked over from behind 11, and he also had a swollen face and bruises all over. Yuanwan looked at 11, then turned a little stutterer and didn't believe his words. What happened to Feng Xian Yi then? Feng Xian Yi was taken aback, then he blinked. I knocked into the wall with 11. 11 hurriedly chimed in. Yes, I can bear witness to that. Yuanwan was speechless. What sort of new trick are you guys playing, huh? Feng Xian Yi. 11 wiped his sweat. We don't want to play this either. While Yuanwan was eating with Si Han, she kept thinking about Nameless Nye's little nephew who lost his parents. She thought about it carefully. Considering Si Han's current condition, it was impossible for them to have a child. His body wouldn't even be able to handle having sex, not to mention having a child. The possibility of someone like Ce Han, who wasn't on the same level as humans, becoming an ad hoc stay-at-home dad was really too low. And getting him to pretend to be a father under these circumstances would be jabbing his wound, right? I should just find an extra and make do with that. Seeing that Yuan Wan was biting on her chopsticks, Ce Han looked at her with a gaze that could penetrate a person's thoughts. What's on your mind? Huh. Yuan Wan felt a sense of guilt, then blurted out, Nothing. Nothing much. I was just wondering whether you've recovered and when we could have sex? Cough. Ce Han choked. Yuan Wan quickly patted his back. Are you okay? It's really rare to see Ce Han losing his composure. She realized that she was becoming more and more fond of teasing Ce Han, and it always came out of her mouth so naturally. What sorcery is this? Ce Han quickly recovered his calm and unperturbed expression. Eat your food. Oh, okay. It wasn't her fault. As the saying went, when one is fed and warmed, one's sexual desires will come up. How's work? Ce Han asked. Ce Han never asked her about her work, and this was really rare. Probably because he knew about the recent changes in her company. Yuanwan told him the situation very simply, then said, Kai Yongshang is the nephew of Chu Hongguang, and with such a strong backing, I wouldn't be able to stop him at all if he wants to take over the company. I already expected this to happen, but it's inevitable to hurt a little when I see him trampling on my hard work. It's something I had to go through sooner or later. In the beginning, when she first joined Dazzling, her goal was very clear. Dazzling was equivalent to a novice village and was a place she could gain experience and build her network, but she would have to leave this place someday. Ce Han looked at her indifferently. He has a strong backing? Yuanwan blinked and giggled mischievously. No way. His could never compare to mine. Leeching from Gong Su alone wasn't enough for her. She had to leech from Luo Chan as well. With this amount of popularity, Kai Yongshang helped arrange various variety shows and interviews for the three of them on his own initiative. At the moment, Gong Su and Luo Chen didn't look too happy. Ever since Luo Chen made his debut, there were zero scandals about him, and he had a spotless reputation. After this incident, Lucy Yang's popularity soared, but his reputation was greatly affected. Even though this incident didn't have much impact on Gong Su, his reputation and private life had improved recently, and all this was the result of Yuan Wan's efforts. Her goal was to improve Gong Su's image slowly. He couldn't be an idol forever, and as he grew older, he had to start changing his image. Right now, Lucy Yang messed things up for him, and he was back to square one. Gong Su and Luo Chen were already quite popular, and definitely didn't need a scandal to keep them in the limelight. On the contrary, having a scandal with a female artist would cause their fans to dislike them. What they needed right now was to accumulate public praise. At the end of the day, Kai Yongshang was just trying to increase the popularity of his own artist, Lucy Yang. Chapter 821. In a challenging situation company meeting in the morning, Kai Yongsheng praised himself proudly. After I took charge, Lucy, Luo Chun and Gong Su had a drastic increase in exposure and everyone is talking about them. It's a total three-way win situation. Nowadays, we can't just shoot a movie and call it a day. Publicity and marketing are very important as well. Otherwise, nobody would talk about them and they wouldn't rise in fame, right? Exactly. Director Kai is right. Lucy certainly has some potential. She became so popular so soon after debuting. Kai Yongshang has great instincts. The other higher-ups from the company agreed. Lucy Yang pretended to be modest and remarked, All of you are flattering me. It's all thanks to the help of Director Kai. Kai Yongsheng looked at Gong Su and Luo Chun as pleased as punch and he ordered them, Gong Su and Luo Chun, I already arranged the next course of your journeys for the two of you. Next week, you guys will be taking part in Imperial City Satellite TV's reality show together with Lucy. It's called Totally in Love. Gong Su couldn't tolerate this anymore. He slammed the table and stood up. Who are you to arrange young master's itinerary? What's your status, huh? Kai Yongsheng chuckled and gave Gong Su side eye. TSK, Gong Su. Although your manager is Vice President Yi, your contract is with the company, and now that I'm the Director of Talent Recruitment, I'll have the final say on everything regarding an artist's work assignments. Even Vice President Yi has no right to question me. If you're not convinced, you can bring your complaints to Chairman Chu. Kai Yongsheng, don't use Chairman Chu against me. You. Luo Chen frowned and reminded him in a low voice, Gong Su, that's enough. Don't make things hard for Yiji. If you carry on making a fuss, everyone will think Yiji instructed you to act like this, whether it was your own idea or not. Yiji's current situation is already challenging enough. Damn it. Gong Su balled his fists up tightly. If this was in the past, he wouldn't have to tolerate anyone's nonsense. However, that was because of the backing from his family, not himself. His two elder brothers were experts in their own fields and were the pride of his parents. He was the only one with nothing to his name, and he had been sheltered by the family. In the past, he took it for granted and only realized now that those people were right. Without the status of young Master Gong, he was nothing at all and didn't even have the ability to protect the people he cared about. Luo Chen pressed Gong Su's shoulder. We'll talk about it again once he is back. Gong Su then suppressed his anger and sat down. It's confirmed then. Meeting adjourned. Kai Yongsheng looked at the two of them mockingly. One of them was a toothless paper tiger, while the other had neither status nor background. Without the huge tree of Worldwide, they were nothing. Whatever Worldwide gave them, it could be taken back very easily, and unless they were obedient, they didn't have to think about making it big. City C. After a day's work was over, Yuan returned to the hotel room. Just as she expected, the moment she opened her laptop, she saw scandals flooding the internet regarding Gong Su, Luo Chen, and Lucy Yang. Kai Yongsheng molded Lucy Yang into a perfect goddess, while Gong Su and Luo Chen both had deep admiration for her and were used as a foil for her. One didn't have to think to know that Gong Su was already exploding in fury for sure. 3 days. In 3 days' time, Yuan would receive the final sum of money and clear her housing debt. Then she wouldn't have to be controlled by Chu Hongguang anymore. Chapter 822. Jealous my ass. During the past 3 days when Yuan wasn't around, Kai Yongsheng was absolutely unbridled and seized all the resources Yuan received from other artists. The best part was that he gave everything to Lucy Yang, trampling on Gong Su and Luo Chen. Although Kai Yongsheng was just conferring a favor, he received quite a number of benefits from HQ, like getting a spot in training school, a chance to study abroad, and a role on the production team. But all these would only be as after he made his offerings. Everybody knew Dazzling was about to undergo a change, and they started looking for a way out for themselves. In the past, under Yi Bai's management, the abled artists could stay, and everyone relied on their capabilities to get resources. Now, all those talented artists were racking their brains on how to gain favor with this new director of talent recruitment. No matter how capable Yi Bai was, he was just an employee, while Kai Yongsheng was Chu Hongguang's nephew. He would definitely be the one who would take over this company in the future. 3 days later, Imperial City Satellite TV's live recording of Totally in Love. Kai Yongsheng brought the beautiful Lucy Yang in high heels with an entourage consisting of her assistant, a makeup artist, a stylist, and about 7 to 8 bodyguards following behind her. It was quite a show of extravagance. Kai Yongsheng spoke in a condescending tone and reminded Yimu Fan, head stylist Felix, this is the very first variety show that our Lucy is in. You better do a good job on her styling. I'm holding you to the highest standards. TSK, what vice chairperson of the Fashion Association? At the end of the day, he's merely an employee at Worldwide. Knowing the close relationship between Yimu Fan and Yuan, Kai Yongsheng kept making things hard for him as well. He declined all the assignments on Yimu Fan's behalf and made him come down specifically to style Lucy Yang. Yimu Fan narrowed his eyes and glanced at the time on his phone, then forced himself to calm down. Wan should be done on her side. Just Lucy Yang's makeup alone would take half a day. When it was finally Luo Chen and Gong Su's turn, there were only 10 minutes left. Thankfully, both of them had great complexions, and with just some light makeup, they outshone the other newbies in seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Right now, I'll brief everyone on what's expected for this week's program. The director walked over. This sort of program might seem like the artists could freely express themselves on the spot, but the fact was that the entire program was scripted. How they should act, what they should say, what the funny parts were, and even the first, second, and third place winners had already been decided. The director began the intense preparations and arranged them into various groups. After he spoke to the first few groups, he turned to Luo Chun, Gong Su, and the others. Luo Chun, you'll team up with Lu Xiyang, and Gong Su, you'll team up with Xiaoying. In order to draw the audience in, we must have an intense conflict in the beginning. So, the script is such that both Luo Chun and Gong Su fancy Lu Xiyang, but the person in the same group as Lu Xiyang is Luo Chun. At this moment, Gong Su, you have to show your jealousy and hatred. Gong Su, what the fuck? Jealous my ass. The director continued. According to our script, Luo Chun and Lu Xiyang will be the winners of the game later on. Lu Xiyang will then go over and hug Luo Chun, and Gong Su will be so raging mad that he charges over and has a big fight with Luo Chun. Gong Su burst out in laughter. What dumb script is this? How retarded does young master need to be in order to do something like this? Huh? Why would I like an ugly freak and even fight over her with this guy? Chapter 823. First kiss on screen. Lu Xiyang was furious. She put on a look of grievance, but was laughing coldly in her heart. What's he complaining about? Even if he doesn't want to, he still has to cooperate obediently. The director chuckled. Gong Su, this is a requirement of the show. The show needs this. The audience loves watching these sorts of things. Please understand. Okay? Luo Chun sneered. It was stated in the contract that there won't be any physical contact. The director paid no attention and said, yes, but this kind of rule is directed toward females. You're a grown man, and if a girl wants to hug you, you're the one benefiting from it, right? Luo Chun pursed his lips, and before he could continue, Kai Yongsheng walked over impatiently. Why do the both of you have so many problems? Do you know what professionalism is? What cooperation is? I thought Yi Bai was so capable as a gold medal manager, but as it turns out, he's merely a bum. He actually groomed artists of this quality? Seeing that he had great power in his hands, Kai Yongsheng was becoming more and more emboldened. Upon hearing the nasty remarks from Kai Yongsheng about Yi Bai, Luo Chun was stunned and Gong Su's expression changed. Gong Su charged towards him and grabbed Kai Yongsheng by the collar. What did you just say? Try saying it once more for your father. Kai Yongsheng scoffed. Io, what? You want to beat me up? Gong Su, don't blame me for not reminding you. But if I wanted to chase you out of the company right now, I could do it with just a few words. Without worldwide. An artist like you who doesn't have anything other than looks wouldn't be worth a fart. Who the hell are you to make a scene? Huh? Gong Su tightened his grip instantly. You? Kai Yongsheng had difficulty breathing and he hurriedly threatened Gong Su. Go on. Keep making a scene. If anything happens, Yi Bai will be responsible for it. By then, you guys will see whether he can handle it. Your director Yi had quite a hard time before he could reach this status, and with the two of you making a fuss, I'm afraid he won't be able to keep his posto. Tisk. Gong Su's fingers loosened instinctively. What happened to him didn't matter, but he was scared he would drag Yi Bai into it. Yi Bai wasn't like him. He didn't treat the entertainment industry like a game, and Gong Su knew how much Yi Bai valued this job. Luo Chun was silent for a long while. Finally, he took a deep breath. Got it. I will cooperate. Alas, Gong Su's fingers gradually loosened and he let go. Kai Yongsheng was delighted. He patted his collar and coughed lightly. That's the way. As long as you guys listen obediently, that's good for everyone. He then said to the director, Director, please proceed. Kids throw tantrums all the time. I hope you don't mind it. All right. The director went to Kai Yongsheng and lit his cigarette for him attentively as he whispered, Director Kai, only you know what to do. The artists under your care are so submissive to you. Kai Yongsheng laughed. Of course, everything they have right now is from worldwide, and all the things worldwide gives them can also be taken away anytime. So obviously they wouldn't dare to disobey me. Kai Yongsheng's eyes lit up as he spoke. He was so excited that the fat on his face jiggled as he exclaimed, "Wait, wait, I have some inspiration. Why don't we get Lucy to kiss Luo Chen after hugging him as if she was unable to restrain herself? Wouldn't that be more exciting? Director, what do you think?" When the director heard that, he was obviously agreeable. Not bad, not bad. Director Kai, your suggestion is fantastic. Fantastic. This was Luo Chen's first kiss on screen. The viewership would definitely be sky high. Chapter 824. Just here to take my own people away. The two of them didn't ask for Luo Chen's opinion at all and changed the script right away. Luo Chen clenched his fists tightly. Working in the entertainment industry, this sort of incident was nothing out of the ordinary, and he had gone through much worse. However, ever since his debut, he was very well protected by Yi Ji, and Yi Ji would never let him go through something like this. All he had to do normally was work hard and act well. Kai Yong-sheng looked at Gong Su casually. "Oh yes, Gong Su, don't forget to beat Luo Chen up immediately after kissing Lucy. Make it look realistic, understand? You should be quite good at this, right?" Ha 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 ha. Gong Su's fists were so tightly clenched that his knuckles were cracking and his eyes were crimson red. The director clapped eagerly. All right, everyone. Please go to your places and start getting ready." The game segment ended according to the script, during which Lucy Yang made all sorts of advances towards Luo Chen. Even Gong Su couldn't take it anymore, yet Luo Chen kept his cool and didn't explode at all. After the games ended, the host said in an exaggerated manner, "Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations to Luo Chen and our Lucy on getting first place. Should Goddess Lucy reward Luo Chen with a hug?" Lucy Yang said, abashed, "Thank you for taking care of me during the game, Luo Chen. I'm really happy we got first place." "Luo Chen, thank you." Lucy Yang walked over to Luo Chen after speaking. It was as if she could already see how high the viewership would be after the show was aired. Luo Chen stood in the same spot. His back stiffened while Gong Su's face was extremely gloomy, and Yimu Fan's face was filled with anxiety as well. If they really acted according to the director's script, Gong Su and Luo Chen's public personas would be completely ruined. Those rumors about them not getting along would become fact as well. Also, for Luo Chen, he could say goodbye to his good boy image. Lucy Yang walked over to Luo Chen and appeared really shy as she leaned towards him. Darn it. Yimu Fan was panicking. Lucy Yang extended her arm to hug Luo Chen, then took the chance to direct her lips toward his face eagerly. Just as Lucy Yang's lips were about to come into contact with Luo Chen, there was a swish and Luo Chen's entire body was pulled back harshly. Luo Chen only felt a sudden force pulling him back, then he knocked onto someone. After that, there was a familiar aura that put him at ease. Luo Chen turned around in disbelief, and after taking a look at the person, his eyes constricted. Yi Ji. All he saw was the man wearing a vintage design sky green colored suit with exaggerated, yet exquisite Chinese embroidery around the edges. A snow-white top peeked through his sleeves, revealing his slender fingers which were as translucent as jade. The corners of his mouth lifted upwards slightly as he looked disdainfully from the corner of his eyes with a languid and cold expression. If they were in ancient times, this man before him was akin to an elegant, noble, and unbridled aristocrat. They didn't know when Yi Ji showed up, and before Lucy Yang could touch Luo Chen, he pulled Luo Chen back and shielded him. "Yi Ji, you're back!" Gong Su exclaimed in excitement. Everyone at the scene returned to their senses only when Gong Su's voice was heard. Upon seeing that Yi Wanwan had appeared all of a sudden and even interrupted their shoot, Kai Yong-sheng's expression changed. "Yi Bai, what do you think you're doing?" Yi Wanwan slowly revealed a plain smile, and her voice was like a breeze from the mountains as she said, "Nothing much. I'm just here to take my own people away." Chapter 825. The time of our lives at this moment, all the artists and workers in the area started to whisper amongst themselves. "Wow, so dashing. Who's that person?" I heard Director Kai calling him Yi Bai. Seems like he's Gong Su and Luo Chen's manager, the newly appointed vice president in Dazzling. Damn, are you serious? There's actually a manager who's so good looking? If managers all looked so good, how many artists would want to break the unspoken rule? Huh? Seeing that her chance of becoming a hot topic of gossip was interrupted, Lucy Yang was upset and turned to Kai Yongsheng, seeking help. Kai Yongsheng's face darkened when he realized that Yi Bai was challenging him in front of so many people. He gritted his teeth and said, "What do you mean by that? Who belongs to you here?" "Gong Su and Luo Chun belong to the company. Don't you know that we're currently shooting a program?" Yi Wanwan replied indifferently. "So what?" Kai Yongsheng had a card up his sleeve. He threatened her mockingly. "Yi Bai, you better think twice before going against me. If Chairman Chu finds out about what you did today, the consequences." Kai Yongsheng was initially worried he wouldn't be able to get rid of this guy, but now that he sent himself to the door, Kai Yongsheng could use this chance to denounce him, and it would be best if his status dropped. Otherwise, he would be really unhappy if he got trampled on by Yi Bai because of his position. Oh, consequences? Yi Bai raised his brows, then took out a thin envelope. He clasped it between his fingers and waved it. "You mean this?" One word was printed on it. Resignation. After getting a clear view of the envelope, Kai Yongsheng's eyes constricted, and he looked at Yi Wanwan in disbelief. You want to resign?" It had never crossed his mind that Yi Wanwan would dare to resign. The entertainment industry was very competitive, and everyone knew how tough it was to survive. Getting to the position of vice president at his age was something that most people dared to not even dream about. How could he bear to give up on everything he had now? Yi Wanwan directly threw the resignation letter to Kai Yongsheng's little assistant. "See for yourself. Darn it. This stinking fella actually dared to resign." Kai Yongsheng glared at him. "Yi Bai, great, this is great. You're so daring, huh? You want to resign? Since this is the case, you're no longer a part of Dazzling. So who are you to interfere with Gong Su and Luo Chen's matters?" Yi Wanwan looked at Luo Chen and Gong Su. Her gaze was as dazzling as the sun. "Following me?" Luo Chen and Gong Su looked at each other and nodded at the same time without hesitation. Luo Chen's indifferent eyes was instantly filled with light, and his face had never looked so serious before. "E.g., I'll go wherever you go." Gong Su was filled with excitement. "Shit, Vijay. You finally said it. I've been waiting for this for a long, long time." Watching Dazzling's two most profitable A-listers preparing to leave with Yi Bai, Kai Yongsheng finally started to panic a little. He roared in front of everyone. You guys, are you guys crazy? Don't you know the consequences of breaching your contracts?" Gong Su, Luo Chun. A wise man submits to circumstances. Yi Bai doesn't have any influence or power. After he leaves Dazzling, he's nothing at all, and by following him, the two of you are ruining your own futures. Think carefully before you make a decision. Luo Chun stood there. He didn't say a word and directly tore off the program's name tag from his arm. Gong Su immediately removed the team uniform he was wearing and tossed it to the ground as he charged towards Kai Yongsheng, half naked, and he pointed his middle finger. "Sayonara, one, idiot." At the same time, Yimu Fan stuffed Lucy Yang's coat and bag into her little assistant's arms and swept his fringe away from his face. Then he whistled and yelled, "Hey, don't forget me. Hoo-hoo. We're free. E.g., let me be a poser. Bring me up high." Gong Su was jumping and cheering from a distance. In the afterglow of the setting sun, their backs seemed to radiate with dazzling light as they left. The time of their lives had just begun. Watching how the four of them left without the slightest hesitation, Kai Yongsheng, Lucy Yang, the director, and everyone else left behind were dumbstruck. Chapter 826. Met with a tough opponent, they're gone. They actually left just like that. One of them was Dazzling's gold medal manager who rose from the dead, Yi Bai, and the other was known as the top stylist with divine hands, Felix, not to mention the two big pillars of Dazzling, Popular Prince, Gong Su, and Hot Newbie, Luo Chun. These four people actually announced they were leaving Dazzling at the same time. All the staff recording the show were stunned for a moment before there was an uproar as they all instinctively looked at Kai Yongsheng. Damn, this Yi Bai is really arrogant. He simply embarrassed Kai Yongsheng like that. And he even took away a couple great gods from dazzling. Uh, isn't this a little mean? At this moment, someone who knew the fact stepped out. What do you know? If it wasn't for Yi Bai's PR, just that bullying incident which caused a national boycott would have destroyed Gong Su completely. Also, Felix was personally poached by Yi Bai. There were countless megastars begging him to style them, but Kai Yong-sheng simply treated him like an assistant and ordered him around, making him carry bags and clothes. I don't have to mention Luo Chen, do I? Yi Bai groomed him single-handedly. When Yi Bai was the director of talent recruitment, he produced many newbies and even poached over many outstanding managers. In just a short time, Dazzling rose from being a subsidiary company of Worldwide that earned the lease to becoming one of the top 10 companies in the industry because of Yi Bai. What's the meaning of this? In the end, Kai Yong-sheng ruined everything. Using the fact that he was Chu Hongguang's nephew, he wanted to manage the entire company after only being here for a couple of days. He tried to get rid of Yi Bai and took all the credit for Yi Bai's work. How do you think Yi Bai feels? Everyone sighed endlessly when they heard this. If it was an ordinary person, he or she would probably suck it up, right? After all, Kai Yong-sheng has such a strong backing. There's no way anybody could mess with him. Look at Yi Bai, leaving the company at this time with nothing and having to be beaten down by Worldwide next time if he remains in the industry. Kai Yong-sheng should be the one with a headache. He wanted to take advantage of Yi Bai, yet he didn't expect that Yi Bai would be one tough opponent. At this moment, Kai Yong-sheng, who was initially lively and showing off his strength, watched the retreating figures with dismay. He turned pale as he looked at the staff and artists around him giving him strange looks. I'm finished. How am I going to explain this to my uncle? Lucy Young noticed the other female artists rejoicing in her misfortune and was hopping mad. Gong Su and Luo Chen actually left the company without hesitation, just so they didn't have to be in the same program as her. This was equivalent to directly walking over her face. Shangji, look at them. They're so arrogant. Shangji, you must make it right for me. You promised that I'd be shooting this week's program with Luo Chen and Gong Su. Shut up. Kai Yong-sheng yelled angrily, then he grabbed the resignation letter from his assistant's hands. His face was shrouded in gloom. The little assistant was anxious. Director Kai, what should we do? How are we going to explain this to Chairman Chu? Kai Yong-sheng raged. Why are you panicking? They're just pretending to threaten me. I don't think they would dare to leave. The recording of the show was forced to stop midway, and Kai Yong-sheng and the others returned to the office. While they were still on the way back, Kai Yong-sheng suddenly received a call from Worldwide HQ. Director Kai, weren't Luo Chen and Gong Su recording a show today? What happened? Chu Hongguang's assistant's voice came through the receiver. What's wrong? Kai Yong-sheng had a bad feeling in his heart. Vice President Yu resigned. He even took Gong Su, Luo Chen, and Felix away. You better come back to the office. Chairman Chu is throwing a fit. Chapter 827. Premeditated long ago. Worldwide Entertainment HQ. Chu Hongguang's face was gloomy. Tell me, what exactly happened? Kai Yong-sheng was very upset. He exclaimed, Uncle, I didn't do anything at all. It was that Yi Bai. He betrayed the company and had the guts to take the company's artists and staff away. He's rebelling. How could Chu Hongguang not have possibly known what was going on the past few days? He simply turned a blind eye, that was all. Yi Bai had too much of the limelight, and he merely wanted to use Kai Yong-sheng to knock him down a little. He did a background check on Yi Bai. He was born in an ordinary family and didn't have any power, influence, or status. He saw far too many people like this, and once they got some power, they couldn't bear giving up on what they had. But who knew that this time, he was wrong? At the end of the day, it was still this nephew of his who was too dumb and reckless. I told you countless times to know your limits. When you're dealing with Yi Bai, you have to bribe him, but don't go overboard. Most importantly, you have to make good use of him. Well done. You had such good cards in your hands, but you messed it up. Chu Hongguang was furious. Kai Yong-sheng looked slightly guilty, but his expression turned to rage very quickly. He complained, Uncle, you can't blame me. This was entirely that guy's fault. He's so ungrateful. Everyone knew I'm your nephew and cooperated with me, but he was the only one who kept trying to get in the way of my work. You weren't there to see it. During the recording today, he completely embarrassed me. Did you know what that guy said? He said he was here to take his own people away, and he even encouraged Gong Su and Luo-chan to follow him. Uncle, he wasn't just disrespecting me. He doesn't even take you seriously. This kind of person with wild schemes would be a liability to the company even if he stayed. Chu Hongguang scoffed. Luo-chan and Gong Su are the two most profitable artists in Dazzling. What are you planning to do without them now? Kai Yong-sheng rolled his eyes and said, although we can't do anything about Felix, Gong Su and Luo-chan's contracts are still with the company, and this early termination is a breach of contract. We can make them compensate us to their deaths. Gong Su doesn't have his family's backing anymore, and Luo-chan just recently became popular. They wouldn't be able to pay the fines. Chu Hongguang glanced at his nephew and sneered. Gong Su's contract was drawn up specifically for him, and he only has to pay the compensation listed in the contract. Luo-chan's contract already reached the 5-year mark last month and expired, so Yi Bai made him sign a new one. That contract doesn't have any loopholes at all either. When Kai Yong-sheng heard that, he was dumbfounded and gritted his teeth immediately. He almost forgot Gong Su entered the industry using his status as the young master of the Gong family. So naturally, nobody dared to tamper with his contract at all. And Yi Bai changed Luo-chan's contract long ago. Uncle, this was definitely premeditated long ago. Kai Yong-sheng spoke in agitation. Chu Hongguang pinched his brows and his face turned ugly. Luo-chan was so popular now, and after his contract expired, Yi Bai gave him a better deal in order to make him stay. There was nothing fishy about that, so he didn't have any objections then. Who knew that this nephew of his would cause such a big mess? Kai Yong-sheng was afraid he upset Chu Hongguang, so he hurriedly said, Uncle, we're a big company. We can survive without them. Don't worry, Uncle. Lucy just debuted a few months ago, and she's already gaining popularity, right? I'll definitely groom a few more A-listers and superstars for you. When Gong Su heard Luo-chan's words, he felt Luo-chan said it better and was jealous. So what if you're cultured? Big deal. Yimu Fan looked at Yi Wanwan. Have you thought about which company we'll be joining? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Why can't we start our own company? Start our own company? Yimu Fan, Gong Su, and Luo-chan looked at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. Her eyes glistened and she flashed a smile. I have a stylist who will be renowned as the king of the fashion industry in the future, and I have 2 international superstars of tomorrow. I don't want to let my own fertile water flow into others' fields. Gong Su's eyes lit up instantly and his chest was surging with excitement. Future superstars? Are you talking about me? Ah, Yi, you have really great taste, and you're absolutely right. You can't let your fertile water, flow into others' fields. Let's start our own company then. As the actor with the least acting skills, Gong Su accepted this title without any shame at all. Chapter 829. Young Master is the true swan. Yimu Fan and Luo-chan still found Yi Wanwan's words quite unbelievable, while Gong Su had already started to envision his future free of obstacles. The two of them were somewhat speechless, but were also ignited by the spark in Yi Wanwan's eyes. Okay. The two of them replied at the same time. After they had a discussion, the 4 people decided to set up their company by each investing a sum of money. But they had a fatal flaw right now. They were broke. Yi Wanwan used all her money to pay off the house, and after she used her last paycheck to make the final payment, she didn't have much money left. Although Gong Su earned a lot, he spent even more. The word savings didn't exist in his dictionary at all. As for Luo-chan, he just started working and hadn't earned much. After careful calculation, they would still need a lot more even if they pooled all their money together. They needed money for registering the company and investing in the next movie that the company would be shooting. The upcoming movie they were going to shoot was very crucial. If they failed, the company's funding would be cut off. This bit of investment isn't enough for sure. Aside from Gong Su and Luo-chan as the main leads, we'll need to hire others too. The cost of the venue and special effects will definitely cost a lot. Yimu Fan mumbled. Gong Su said carelessly. We'll just earn more if we don't have enough. From now on, Luo Chen and I will go all out to accept assignments and endorsements. We'll work hard. Yimu Fan was doubtful. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Chu Hongguang will definitely come in our way and won't let us have an easy time. Just half an hour ago, Yuanwan, Yimu Fan, Gong Su, and Luo Chen announced their departure from Dazzling Media on their Weibo accounts. At this moment, there was quite a big commotion on the internet. Gong Su was looking through Weibo and suddenly stomped his feet in anger. Fuck, we already left the company. Yet Kai Yongshang, that bastard, is still using us for our fame. The show they recorded with Lucy Yang, Totally in Love, had already been broadcasted and stirred up some juicy gossip. The rumors on the internet were now saying that these two people had fallen out with Dazzling because of Lucy Yang. Damn, this Lucy Yang is too attractive, huh? She just arrived at Dazzling a couple days ago and actually caused two of Dazzling's most popular artists to fight so badly. Never mind Gong Su. Why is Luo Chen like that too? Give me my clean and pure Prince Charming back. But Lucy Yang was really quite outstanding, highly educated with a high EQ. She's beautiful and acts well. There aren't many true goddesses in the industry anymore, and Gong Su is simply a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. I seriously suspect that those two people did something outrageous to our Lucy and were chased out of the company. Yimu Fan's face was filled with mockery as he read on. It was so obvious that they actually paid these commenters. The comments were all on the paid commenters' playing field, and whenever someone spoke badly about Lucy Yang, his or her comment would be pushed to the back very quickly by the paid commenters. Gong Su was enraged. Stupid farts. Young master is the true swan, all right? Yimu Fan, why is this guy always paying attention to something else? At the same time, Fashion Magazine released a statement that made it onto the Hot Topics list. Beauty released a preview photo of Gong Su and Lucy Yang together. Everybody knew Gong Su and Lucy Yang started forming ties when they were shooting for the cover of Beauty. This week's cover and the interviews inside were all regarding Gong Su and Lucy Yang. Hence, the gossipy crowd swarmed over like bees. They brought their melon seeds and stools in an attempt to seek out more juicy gossip. This week's beauty magazine would definitely be sold out the moment it went on sale. However, in recent years, the competition in the fashion industry had become more and more intense. Although the power of Vivi was there still, their concept was too backdated. In recent years, they'd gradually begun to decline. After she ended the call, Yuanwan turned to her two artists. Their images counteracted one another, and they were complete opposites as well. One was an arrogant and overbearing tease, while the other had a calm, introverted, and cold personality. Why didn't I notice this before? These two kids really feel like a CP1. Feeling somewhat afraid, Gong Su couldn't help but mutter, e.g., are you worried about something? You have a strange look in your eyes. Yuanwan coughed lightly and retracted her gaze. She nagged them, go to bed early and don't stay up late. We'll be doing a shoot for the cover of Vivi's magazine tomorrow morning. Chapter 832. The name matches the reality. Gong Su sighed dispiritedly. Vivi? They're not as awesome as fashion. Yimu Fan gave him side-eye. How could you criticize them? It's already good enough that they didn't criticize you. With Vivi being a really established fashion magazine in China, they have extremely strict requirements for their artist reputations. Everyone in their magazines is top-tier artists. If it wasn't for our good luck, how could you possibly have had a chance to be on the cover? What's wrong with you? Young Master is also quite popular. All right, Gong Su whined. Luo Chun spoke up. Are Gong Su and I shooting together? Yi Wanwan nodded. Yes, I fought for a two-person cover. Yi Wanwan didn't tell them much about it. She wanted them to be natural during the shoot to leave the rest to the public's imagination. Yi Wanwan, if there's no problems, we'll confirm the shoot. Also, Luo Chen, I sent you a copy of the script I showed Gong Su before. I didn't send it to you earlier because you had better projects, but right now, I can only get you to be on this drama series with Gong Su. After all, they had limited crew members and would need a huge sum to hire other artists. Luochen hurriedly said, "Nah, not at all. I read the outline of the script. It has a really good story." Yimu Fan casually asked, "Then who's the main lead and supporting actor?" Judging from the acting of these two people, the main lead would definitely be Luochen and the supporting actor would be Gong Su. With Gong Su's character, what if he starts fighting with Luochen? Yi Wanwan replied, "They're both the male leads. Luo Chen's character is a gunman from the Special Forces while Gong Su is acting as a hedonistic son of rich parents." Yimu Fan nodded. "This is pretty good and their roles are quite suitable. Where did you get this script from and who's the screenwriter?" Yi Wanwan looked into the distance. "After a bit, I'll take you guys to meet him." Yi Wanwan then turned to Gong Su and Luo Chen and warned them, "The assignment for the two of you right now is to study the script attentively and prepare for the filming. I'll be getting someone to give the two of you some special training. As for the registration of the company and formation of a crew, just leave it to Felix and me." Luo Chen, "All right, Yi." Gong Su, "Yes, sir." After some discussion between the four of them, Yimu Fan recalled something and hurriedly said, "Yeah, hold on. I almost forgot about one important matter. We still have to discuss what we're going to name our company. I'm bad at coming up with names. You guys think about it." Luo Chen looked at Yi Wanwan. "We'll leave it to Yiji to decide." Gong Su suggested excitedly, "The four of us established this company, so why don't we call it the Four Heavenly Kings Film Industry?" Yi Wanwan, Gong Su blinked. Isn't it good? What about booming awesome entertainment?" Yi Wanwan sighed. "Shut up and let me think." Gong Su sat down obediently. "Oh, actually, Yi Wanwan wasn't really good at coming up with names either, and after some thought, she suddenly had inspiration." Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. "Why don't we call ourselves Age of the Immortals? How about that?" Luo Chen, "It's pretty good. Anything Yi Ji says is good." Gong Su's eyes lit up. "Wah, that's cool. It's very domineering. I like it." Yimu Fan burst out in laughter. "Isn't it a little too arrogant?" Yi Wanwan raised her brows. "Let it be, then. The name matches the reality." The moment Yi Wanwan said that, there was a surging tide in all three of their hearts. "All right." "Not bad, eh? Much better than the MLM group of five." "Master, Heidi has already prepared the meal. May I know when you'd like to have dinner?" the elderly mercenary asked respectfully. Yi Wanwan replied, "In half an hour." Yi Wanwan sat on the couch in the living room while fiddling with her phone, deep in thought. She sent Nameless Nya a text, but why hadn't she heard from him for so many days? For convenience's sake, she added the five of them on WeChat and established a WeChat group. Thus, Yi Wanwan directly sent a message in the WeChat group. "Is anyone there?" But after waiting for some time, the group was still quiet and no one replied. "Are they all busy?" Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and waited for a while longer. There was still no reply, so she casually tapped on her phone and sent the group a red pocket containing $1. "Nameless Nya received your red pocket. Spray of Flowers received your red pocket. Devotee received your red pocket. Little Sweetie Eisen Joro received your red pocket. Dead Man received your red pocket. Yi Wanwan." Chapter 834. Prepared a big feast. Yi Wanwan was completely speechless. She asked them a question and nobody answered, but when she sent out red pockets, every one of them snatched one within seconds. Famous Yi Wanwan sent an ellipsis in the group chat. After they snatched up the red pockets, there was silence once again, like it was a dead group. Yi Wanwan didn't buy it and sent another red pocket in the group chat. It was still snatched up in seconds. Looking at the record of these five people grabbing the red pockets, Yi Wanwan was speechless. Upon seeing that it was almost dinner time, Yi Wanwan placed her phone down, went upstairs to shower and changed her clothes. When she came back downstairs, the dishes were all ready. Yi Wanwan sat down and took a bite. To her surprise, it tasted pretty good. "Master, how is it?" Heidi stammered and stood by the side, afraid that the Black Widow would take it out on her if the food wasn't to her liking. If he was better looking, there might be a chance he could be her boy toy. But with his looks, the Black Widow would only treat him as fertilizer. Not bad. Heh, that's good, that's good. To be quite honest, I used to be a chef, but I haven't cooked in a long time. I'm really out of practice now. Master, don't worry, I'll get better at it. Heidi tried his best to show his loyalty. I won't disturb Master any longer. Please enjoy your meal. In the kitchen, 5 people were huddled inside, gossiping. Little Lolita peeped at Yuan, who was in the living room, and exclaimed, "Wow, Master looks beautiful when she's dressed as a woman and looks dashing when she's dressed as a man. She even looks quite easygoing." The fatty glared at her. "Stupid girl, what do you know? That's just on the surface. She kills people like scything flax, bathes in human blood, and feeds human bones to the dogs. Easygoing? It'll be your doomsday if she gets mad." The bearded man nodded his head continuously. Exactly. The long-haired man was worried. We're living under the same roof. How are we going to live with her? What if Master isn't in a good mood one day? Wouldn't that be the end for all of us? The bearded man and Fatty looked at one another, then revealed sinister smiles. "Don't worry about that. Fatty and I already prepared for it." Prepared? What did you guys prepare? The long-haired man didn't understand. Prepare what? Prepare what? Little Lolita probed. "Move aside. We prepared a big meal for the lady," smirked the fatty. Long-haired man. "Feast?" Little Lolita. In the living room, Yuan was enjoying her meal. At first, she invited Si-Han over to take a look at her new place, but he had something at the last minute and had to go on a business trip, so he couldn't make it. Just as she was about to go to work after eating, there were footsteps at the door. "Sorry to disturb." Hello. A man suddenly appeared at the door. The man was handsome and had a great figure. His charisma was comparable to a superstar's. Out of habit, Yuan sized the man up carefully, and her eyes lit up slightly. If 10 marks was a full score, this man scored at least a 9. After that, Yuan looked at this stranger suspiciously. "You are?" The man appeared a little nervous and walked over to Yuan carefully, like she was some terrifying beast. I. Yuan frowned. "What?" The man pursed his lips and didn't speak. He simply took off his coat and revealed an unexpectedly translucent shirt inside, and there was even a black necklace around his neck. Then the man leaned over and knelt in front of Yuan. "I'm here to serve you, madam. Please, madam, enjoy it, will." Yuan. What the hell? Chapter 835. Play any games you like, serve. Enjoy? Yuan looked at that man before her, dressed in a translucent top with a black collar around his neck, and was completely stunned. She couldn't react at all. She merely wanted a proper meal at home. What was happening here? The man noticed she wasn't speaking, so without a second thought, he started taking off that top, which was so see-through that he was basically revealing everything. Yuan finally came back to her senses and hurriedly stopped him. Cough. Wait. What on earth are you doing? History always has shocking similarities. Why do people keep stripping before me lately? The man said anxiously. "Madam, are you unsatisfied with me?" Unsatisfied? What do I need to be satisfied with? Yuan pinched her brows. "Get up first and put your clothes on properly." At this moment, the 5 people peeping from the kitchen were panicking. What's going on? This doesn't make any sense. Master actually asked him to put on his clothes? Is it because this man isn't good enough and Master doesn't like him? I don't think so. I hired him from the black market at a high price. Look at his body, his face. Weird. When did the Black Widow start being a vegetarian? Yuan. Bro, could you speak properly? What's with this guy? Is he trying to bribe me? But that couldn't be it, as she was in her normal female outfit right now, and this person wasn't surprised at all, so he couldn't be someone from the entertainment industry. Yuan pinched her brows. "Whoever you are, get out." "Madam?" The guy was shocked. After all, he hadn't made any mistakes. But why? Yuan glanced at him and said casually, "You're right, I'm not satisfied." The man froze. This was an insult to him. Madam, sometimes you can't be too sure." I can say that none of my clients were unsatisfied with me after they tried. The man spoke and tore his shirt off at the same time. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Why doesn't this person listen? Just as she was about to speak, a cold and clear voice came from the door. What are you guys doing? Yi Wanwan's soul flew out of her body. Every inch of hair on her body stood on end, and she turned her neck rigidly to look. She saw that the main door wasn't closed and Si Han, who was supposed to be on a business trip, was standing at the door. There was an icy aura all around him like a demon from hell. Fuck. Yi Wanwan looked at the man wearing an indecent shirt, then turned to Si Han. She took at least 3 seconds before she reacted. No. See? Si Han, I can explain. Si Han's gaze swept across the interior of the house. It was as if there was an unmelting frost that covered his face. There wasn't a hint of warmth at all. Darkness spread in his eyes like a beast who could tear a person apart in the next second. Seems like I came at the wrong time. Before the beast inside his body lost control and charged out of its cage, he turned around and left immediately. Yi Wanwan looked at this scene and panicked. She hurriedly caught up with him, but the man with the collar was blocking her way. Madam, who is he? Fuck. Who is he? He's my... Upon realizing that Si Han was about to leave, panic started to engulf Yi Wanwan. She gritted her teeth, stepped directly onto the dining table, and leaped across before she finally caught up to Si Han. With a loud thud, she stood behind him and slammed the door shut. Si Han had nowhere to go. He turned around slowly with his frosty eyes that looked as though they could lose control at any moment, and he looked at the girl who was panting. Get out of the way. I'm dead. He looks like he's really fuming this time. Yi Wanwan put on a sad face and was about to cry. Wifey, there are outsiders here. Could you please give me some face? Si Han. At the same time, Yi Wanwan roared, the 5 of you, get over here right now. She thought wrongly just now. How could that be a bribe? She had 5 experts guarding this place, so nobody could walk in and out of here whenever they pleased unless they were the ones who set it up. She even thought these people were reliable. Seriously? Very soon, the 5 of them came out of the kitchen one after another. Master, you called for us? Chapter 836. The man wearing the black collar froze when he saw Si Han. Just a second ago, he always believed that there was absolutely no woman who could resist his charms. He assumed this woman wasn't satisfied with him only because she hadn't tried him yet. But when he saw the man at the door, he finally understood the difference between heaven and earth. It was no wonder this woman showed no change in expression when she saw him. The 5 mercenaries were about to break down. Originally, they wanted to gain some brownie points and curry favor with their new master, but who knew that they would get caught in the act by the main wife. While they were spying from the kitchen, they wondered why the legendary Black Widow, who was known for not discriminating between any males, was suddenly a vegetarian. But now, it suddenly dawned on them that it wasn't that she was a vegetarian, but she was henpecked? Truly, as the saying went, everything has its weakness. Who would have thought that the Black Widow, who had no lack of men, would fall head first for this man? In the living room, the 5 of them drifted into their own thoughts. Yi Wanwan didn't care what they were thinking. She looked at each and every one of them as she said, Tell me exactly who this person is and why he's in the house all of a sudden. At this moment, Yi Wanwan was suppressing her anger. Her eyes were gloomy, and she was even scarier than Si Han standing next to her. The 5 of them were so scared that their legs were trembling. They looked at one another and didn't dare to utter a word. Little Lolita hid behind the old housekeeper. Master, I don't know anything. The fatty tweaked his ears and scratched his cheeks, then blurted out, Master. He's the new servant we just hired. Bearded man exclaimed, Master, he's an assassin. Yi Wanwan, could the 2 of you get some agreement between your statements before talking? This will cause my death, all right? Actually, Yi Wanwan didn't need to think any further to know what was going on. Finally, after pinching her brows, she waved at them. Take the man away. Hurry up. Having this man here was like holding a ticking time bomb. Hurry and take him out of Si Han's sight. The fat man and the bearded man nodded, then immediately got up to get the man to leave. Leave quickly, go, go, quick, quick, quick. The man picked up his clothes from the ground and stood up slowly, then walked towards the door. As he brushed past Yuanwan, he glanced at Si-Han, then looked at Yuanwan and said softly, "Madam, no wonder you weren't satisfied with me. I admit I really can't compare with him in terms of appearance, but what?" Yuanwan frowned. She suddenly had this feeling that his next sentence wasn't going to be good. The man paused, chuckled, then continued to speak. "But madam, you can't just judge a man by his appearance. If he's too boring, he would just be nothing more than a decoration. Don't you agree, madam?" "YWW. Agree your father." The man flashed an ambiguous smile and lowered his voice, but Si-Han could still hear him. "Madam, if you change your mind, you can still call me anytime. For you, I can give it to you free of charge, oh, Yuanwan." When the man finished speaking, he turned and left. The 5 mercenaries were trembling so badly that they started to rub their hands instinctively. Damn, why does it feel so cold all of a sudden? Running faster than a rabbit, the 5 people slipped away very quickly. Finally, there was only Yuanwan left in the living room, facing a great devil whom she didn't have the guts to look at. Damn it, I got into trouble even when I was just sitting at home minding my own business. Chapter 837. Yuanwan grabbed Si-Han's arm and tried her best to explain. "Even if you gave me 100 guts, I still wouldn't dare to look at other men. It's those unreliable fools' fault for taking matters in their own hands. I'm also a victim here. Also, that guy is obsessed with appearances. If he only looks at appearances, what about personality?" Yuanwan rambled for a long time, but at this moment, explanations didn't matter to Si-Han anymore. "Si-Han, let go before I start to regret things. Before I lose control." Yuanwan obviously wouldn't let him go at this time. When lovers fought, it was fine if they ended the fight and made up on the spot, but if they left the conflict for a period of time, that problem would become more troublesome for sure. Especially for someone like Si-Han, who thought a lot and kept to himself. If this was the Si-Han from before, things would have turned bloody ages ago. But right now, he was deliberately suppressing his own emotions, and he wanted to leave because he wasn't sure what he would do if he went out of control. Ninth Master, Miss Wanwan, Su Yi, 11 and Feng Xianyi appeared at the door. The 3 of them were holding bags of daily necessities in their hands. Si-Han probably instructed them to purchase them since he knew Yuanwan was moving. Seeing this made Yuanwan feel even more guilty. Darn it, Si-Han just returned from his business trip and rushed over to give these things to me, but in the end, he actually witnessed that scene, and that wasn't the first time. Sui felt that the atmosphere was a bit off, so he probed carefully. "What's going on?" "Yuanwan had a headache and whined. Went whoring and got caught by your master." Sui, 11, was stunned. Feng Xianyi, Duong, Duong, Duong. Their jaws dropped. Sui, Miss Wanwan, you, what are you saying? 11 was shocked. Whoring. The 3 of them became mutes at the same time. Yuanwan pinched her brows and glanced at the 3 of them. "All of you, put the things down and leave immediately." The 3 of them looked at each other and didn't understand what Yuanwan meant. Sui, who was trying his best to mediate the situation, was taken aback. "Huh. Why?" Yuanwan sighed. Her fair fingers stroked Si-Han's collar, then she spoke softly, "Because the next scene might not be suitable for kids." Si-Han, Su-Yi, 11, Feng Xianyi. In the next second, the 3 of them put the bags down and instantly disappeared without a trace. They followed orders really well. Upon seeing that the 3 of them had disappeared, Yuanwan used some force to pull Si-Han closer, and she moved towards him with her peach blossom pink, soft lips. Si-Han narrowed his eyes. His head was telling him that this was the tactic she always used. The fire around his chest was about to burn him to ashes, and it was telling him that he should push her away at this moment. However, his body didn't want to cooperate at all and remained still. Instead, Yi Wanwan suddenly stopped when they were so close to one another that they could feel each other's breath. Si Han's expression turned frosty. Wait. Yi Wanwan narrowed her eyes and pulled out a hairpin from her hair, then, swish, she flung it towards a certain direction. A certain fatty, who was peeping from the corner, wailed loudly, followed by the footsteps of those 5 people fleeing in disarray. Finally, the courtyard was in total silence. Yi Wanwan clapped, then kissed her beauty. All's good now, Si Han. Chapter 838. In the end, when Yi Wanwan was about to kiss him, Si Han actually tilted his head and evaded her kiss. There was a layer of ice in his eyes. Rather than anger, it looked more like helplessness and annoyance. Yi Wanwan's face dropped when she didn't get to kiss him. She then said angrily, "So be it. Si Han, who do you think you are? How could you treat me this way? Do you know you're being so hateful?" Although the group of 5 was chased away by Yi Wanwan, Sui and the other 2 weren't far away as they were worried. They hid in a corner at a distance. 11, who had excellent hearing, heard what Yi Wanwan said and panicked. Oh dear, they're going to fight. Sui froze. No way. Why? Miss Wanwan knows how to size up the situation. She also knows how to coax Ninth Master. Why would she start fighting with him? 11's head was aching and he said, under such circumstances, there's no use even if she coaxed him, right? Sui was anxious. What should we do? As expected, after listening to Yi Wanwan's words, Si Han's face turned ugly and his tone was as cold as ice. What did you say? Yi Wanwan threw caution to the wind. She folded her sleeves and exploded in fury. I said, who do you think you are? Just because you're slightly better looking, have longer legs and a higher IQ, and are very comfortable to hug, you're just relying on the fact that I like you, fell head over heels for you, and fell so deep that I don't feel a thing even when a naked man stands in front of me. Si Han. A distance away. 11 was dumbfounded. Amazing. That actually worked? As they were too far away, Sui couldn't hear clearly and he probed urgently. What's the situation? What did Miss Wanwan say? What did she say? Why does the atmosphere feel so terrifying? 11 looked at Sui with a complicated gaze. Housekeeper Su, you wouldn't want to know. Feng Xian nodded as well. Sui, all right, I already got a hunch that I'll be stuffed with dog food. You? Si Han wasn't able to speak at all. Yi Wanwan was still mad and complained nonstop. I hate you the most. Don't you know how attractive and charming you are? Why are you being jealous like other people? Si Han pinched the bridge of his nose. Shut up. Yi Wanwan was infuriated. No, I want to speak. In the next second, Yi Wanwan stopped talking and the rest of her words lingered on her lips. Si Han's thin lips covered hers. His sharp teeth rubbed against her soft lips, then he bit down harshly, fuming with rage between gritted teeth. From the past till now, I've always been this way. I never ever gave her a way out. Yi Wanwan smirked. Thought you weren't going to kiss me. I was speaking the truth. Okay? Why didn't you let me speak? In this world, you're probably the person with the least possibility of having any connections with the word jealous. But in the end, from men to women, from humans to animals, you're always either jealous or about to be jealous. Amazing. A man's heart is like a needle deep at the bottom of the sea. I really don't know what you're thinking. Si Han's dark eyes were glued to the girl's angry and confused little face. Because it's you. The little assistant shrieked. Even if they were quite used to seeing good-looking men in their line of work, Gong Su's individual style and charisma with his dashing looks were quite attractive indeed. The lighting technician said suspiciously, Why's Luo Chun here too? I heard the 2 of them would be shooting for the cover together today. The little assistant replied, You're kidding. Why would we have 2 men on the cover? Did the chief editor lose his mind from being too provoked? Who knows what the chief editor is thinking? The little assistant muttered while she watched the 4 people walking in. They were a feast for her eyes. But Luo Qin and Gong Su are really too good-looking. And is that person next to them their manager? Even their manager is so handsome. Wow, who's that behind them? Huh? Why is today's attractiveness index is so high? Chapter 840 Due to stress, Chai Yongli was somewhat crabby. What's the fuss about? Go get ready. Yes. The group of people then scattered like birds and beasts. The photographer, Xiao Yutong, was wearing a light and comfortable dry-fit shirt and walked over in his little white sneakers. Boss, what style theme are we shooting today? Chai Yongli pinched his brows and tossed a stack of documents over. Just follow this theme. Xiao Yutong glanced at it. It was a modern style that conformed with societal norms. Yuanwan strode over and said politely, Teacher Xiao, Chief Editor Chai, could I discuss something with the both of you? What is it? Chai Yongli knitted his brows. Yuanwan said, I believe in both of your professionalism, but as a manager, I think there's no other person who would understand my artists better. Here are a couple themes I came up with for Gong Su and Luo Chun, according to their styles. The outfits were designed by Felix, and if Chief Editor Chai and Teacher Xiao find them suitable, maybe we could give them a go? Chai Yongli looked at Yuanwan, then took the proposal from her. At first, he flipped through it quickly, but when he reached the last few pages, his expression froze and he looked intently at the contents. He had to admit that because of the pressure from beauty in addition to the female star flaking out on him, he already knew he would lose, so he didn't really put in much effort into the theme. However, at this moment, the proposal Yi Bai handed to him evidently showed a lot of effort put into it. Yuanwan didn't rush them and merely stood by the side quietly. Yutong, look at this. Chai Yongli passed the proposal to the photographer. Xiao Yutong glanced at it, and his eyes lit up. This design is quite interesting. I think we can give it a go. He then turned to Yuanwan and apologized. Mr. Yi, really sorry about it. Because of time constraints, we weren't able to prepare properly. Yuanwan didn't mind and said, don't worry about it. If it wasn't for that artist flaking out, we wouldn't be so lucky to have gotten the chance to be on the cover. Chai Yongli and Xiao Yutong felt much better after hearing what Yuanwan said. After some thought, Chai Yongli said to Yuanwan, Mr. Yi, we'll go with the theme you proposed then. Yuanwan, thank you so much, Chief Editor Chai. After they settled on the theme, Luo Chun and Gong Su entered the dressing room to get ready. The workers were fixing up the backdrop and the photographer was adjusting the lighting while Yuanwan and Yimu Fan waited on the sofa. Yimu Fan looked worried. Wanwan, having two men on the cover together. Will that really work? Even though he was very confident in his designs for the two of them, logically speaking, having two men on the cover couldn't compare to having a man and woman, right? Yi Wanwan didn't explain further. We'll see when the end product is out. Yimu Fan, I guess. After they waited for a while, Gong Su walked out of the dressing room. The moment everyone saw Gong Su, their eyes glistened. Gong Su's hair was temporarily dyed wine red. He was dressed in a flashy orange leather flight jacket paired with Dr. Martin's boots. There were a few blood stains drawn on the corners of his lips and porcelain face, and there was also a faintly discernible little snaggletooth at the side of his mouth. Following that, Luo Chun also walked out of the dressing room. Chapter 841. Luo Chun had jet black short hair, fierce brows, and his thin lips had an icy cold aura. He wore a vintage Western suit with an oversized coat on top. With the tailored fit, his legs looked perfectly straight and long, and he had a cross tattooed on the side of his neck. In his hands, he was holding a vintage totem gun. Gong Su and Luo Chen's styles immediately led people to think of a vampire and a hunter. Wow, so dashing. And the two of them have their own individual styles. It's simply a feast for the eyes, am I right? Humans were visual animals, and there was an uproar in the studio once again. The photographer, Xiao Yutong, looked at the two of them and laughed. I suddenly feel like it's a pretty good idea to have two men on the cover together. A double feast for the eyes. Are the two handsome lads ready? If there are no issues, we can start with the shoot now. Gong Su hopped over to Xiao Yutong and whispered, "Pretty sister, make me look more handsome." "Okay, I must be better looking than that guy." Xiao Yutong giggled. "Don't worry, you look good at any angle." "Pretty sister, you have good taste." Gong Su even gave Luo Chen a look to provoke him. Luo Chen, as usual, ignored him. "Idiot." "Shit. Who are you calling an idiot? Huh? Try saying it again." "Gee, this guy is personally attacking me again. Stop messing around. Work hard." "Gee, you're biased." Xiao Yuyong watched the two of them interacting and was quite surprised. Gong Su and Luo Chen's relationship didn't really seem like what the rumors were saying, eh? Although they were bickering, it was more of a playful kind, and it wasn't entirely like what the rumors were insinuating. They weren't as incompatible as water and fire. Initially, she was planning to see how it went and plan from there, but upon seeing these two people right now, she suddenly had inspiration and pulled the two of them over to talk about the effect she wanted. After listening to Xiao Yutong's expectations, the two of them went into character very quickly and started the shoot. First, the two of them stood with their backs against each other. On the right, Gong Su curled his lips into a sinister smile. He tilted his head towards the camera and used his finger to rub the blood stain on his lips. On the left, Luo Chen's eyes were slightly closed. The wind blower was blowing the back of his coat, and there was a mysterious air from that cross tattoo on his neck. One was unyielding while the other was quiet. One was evil while the other was just. One was the dark night while the other was the light. With the two of them standing together, it created a very stunning visual effect. Xiao Yutong was very satisfied and pointed at them. "Fantastic. One more shot. This time, Gong Su, you'll lie on the floor. Your neck has to be tilted slightly upwards, and your smile has to be as arrogant as possible." Luo Chen, you'll grab Gong Su's collar, then point a gun at his heart. At the side. Yu Wanwan watched the shoot and heaved a sigh of relief. The effect was better than she expected. She believed that with a photographer like Xiao Yutong, she would be able to bring out the impact of these styles she prepared, and as expected, Xiao Yutong's creativity was in full force. The best cover shoots didn't make a person look handsome or beautiful but brought out a theme well. Like movies, magazine shoots had a story too. Very soon, the first set of shots was done. Compared to the first set that was more magical, the second set was more realistic and homely. The second set was done in a studio that was set up to look like a bedroom. Luo Chen wore a decent black suit and a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, while Gong Su wore a set of adorable velvet pajamas. Chapter 842, Xiao Yutong got the crew members to bring over lots of snacks. Gong Su, hug the snacks, then sit on the sofa with your legs crossed. Gong Su stared at the large pile of junk food with glistening eyes. "Then can I eat them?" Yi Wanwan held her head. "I knew it." Xiao Yutong chuckled. "Just pretend to eat it. Don't really eat it. We can give them to you after the shoot." After that, she glanced at Yi Wanwan. "But I'm not the decision-maker when it comes to whether or not you can eat them." Gong Su immediately turned to Yi Wanwan and was about to act like a spoiled brat when Luo Chen, who was straightening his tie by the side, reminded him indifferently, "Let me remind you that your weight this month is over by 3 kilograms. Damn. So what if young master is a little fatter? Who are you to criticize me on my weight? Have you ever treated me to a bowl of rice or soup? Which piece of meat on my body has an obligation to listen to you? Have you ever treated me to beef, mutton, ham, or sausage? Have you treated me to chicken, duck, goose, crab, prawn, abalone, shark's fin, or bear's paw? Have you treated me to roast, steamboat, or hot and spicy soup? Have you treated me to wontons, glutinous rice balls, noodles, or sour and spicy skewers? Yi Wanwan. That's quite enough." Xiao Yutong was laughing when her eyes lit up and she hurriedly captured the present scene. Gong Su was hugging the snacks and looking at Luo Chen in a disgruntled manner, while Luo Chen, who was still straightening his tie, had a look of disdain. Very soon, shooting the second set of pictures ended successfully. Yuanwan prepared 3 themes, and at first, just 2 sets were enough. But because the results of the first 2 sets were really good, Xiao Yutong strongly recommended getting 3 sets done. The third set had to be done outdoors, so they had to book another time. Even though it was close to printing time and they were under such a tight schedule, Xiao Yutong still insisted on having 3 sets, so it was obvious she was quite pleased with the 2 of them. We'll continue the third set another day and use 1 set as the cover. The others can be used for the content. Chief Editor, we'll need to get in touch with a scenic area. We need a bamboo forest. Sure, leave it to me, Chai Yongli said. Xiao Yutong laughed. Didn't expect the outcome of this shoot to be so good. I'm suddenly really confident about this cover, and even if we can't defeat Beauty, the quality is definitely better. She then turned to Yuanwan and Yimu Fan and asked casually, "Oh right, are you guys going to find another company after leaving Dazzling? Or, we're going to set up our own company?" Yuanwan replied. "Ah, I see. It's not bad to manage things yourself. Mr. Yi, you're young and promising. You'll succeed for sure." "Thank you." Xiao Yutong sized Yuanwan up with a thoughtful gaze and couldn't help but suggest, "Since we have some time left, why don't I take a group photo for the 4 of you for publicity of your new company?" Yuanwan was hesitant. Wouldn't that be too troublesome for you?" Xiao Yutong's eyes were never this bright before. She replied excitedly and eagerly, "Not at all, not at all. Might as well since we're at it." Yuanwan laughed. "Many people wouldn't be able to have this chance even if they begged you." Xiao Yutong was very famous in the industry. After Vivi lost power, many magazine publishers tried to poach her, including Beauty, but for the sake of old relations, she wasn't willing to leave. "Ow ow ow. Company photo. I want to shoot. I want to shoot. Can I have a solo shot with Yi Ji?" Gong Su shouted from behind. Yimu Fan rolled his eyes at him. "Since it's a company photo, we should obviously have the 4 of us together. Why should he take a photo with you alone? Even if they could do a solo shot, it should be me and my sister, all right?" Gong Su pouted. "Tisk, boring. Both of you will pull down the attractiveness index of Yiji and me. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.